Hello, citizens of YouTube. This is the Geeky Nerd here, and today we're going to be talking about the LaRue MBT-2S. Before I begin, I'd like to say a big thank you out to everyone who's liked, commented, and subscribed on the previous videos. I always appreciate it and always enjoy talking to you guys. But if you're new to the channel, welcome. And if you enjoy this video, enjoy this type of content, please consider liking, commenting, and or subscribing. Whew, with the PR out the way, let's get into it. So, LaRue MBT, meticulously built trigger. As it says right there, right? So it is about $100-ish trigger. You see here is made from S7 tool steel, 4.5 pounds, usually just ever so slightly lighter than that, generally speaking. And why it is probably the best trigger you can get for around 100. Now, the funny thing is that LaRue, they made this trigger basically as an insult to Geissele, and saying that they could make a trigger that's equally as, if not better, for about 100. And from what I've read, this is actually a product that it makes them ever so slightly much money, but it's pretty much at that break-even point, right? Which is kind of weird for a company because it brings people into the LaRue ecosystem saying, hey, listen, if the triggers are this great for this price, everything else must be great, right? So it kind of builds some of that brand loyalty, which is what I think they're going with. Now, I'll say this. I do have a video comparing this to the SSA EX. They are very similar, flat out, guys. I know that this is like controversial as anything for people to be like, or sacrilege, right? To say, oh, this trigger's better than this one, or this one's great, or yada, yada, yada. Triggers are definitely a personal choice type thing. Personally, I love my CMC triggers. This one is very nice, but the Geissele still does take the cake, right? I mean, yes, you are paying more for exponentially diminishing returns, but I think it still is a better trigger. For the everyday person, is this going to be a proven over mil spec? Oh, heck yeah, right? But Geissele still a good trigger. LaRue does do a few things different. So with that, all that, this one has been modified a little bit to fit in the Honey Badger at home. So this video is part of a mini series, part of a larger series of making a Honey Badger at home, which is what this trigger is going in. It's going in here. So be on the lookout on the channel for that. But you'll see I had to modify a bit to fit. So it's kind of taking it out here. And just kind of want to give you guys a quick kind of macro shots, right, of how it's built. So S7 tool steel being very hard. You shouldn't have any type of issues there. So people say the cast is better, where this is versus machined. You can't see there. There's a little bit of shmoo from the factory, right? Just a little bit of grease. Nothing too crazy, right? And this is as you guys are seeing it. Yeah, just a little bit of grease. Not too crazy. Standard hammer profile. Kind of thinnish, not too crazy wide. You can't see some of the ledges there. Everything will have to wear down nicely. Just have this little pin in there. And then here is the trigger. Again, those little shiny parts are modified by me. You see it has like this little scalloping here. Very broad trigger. Now, that is one thing I want to say about this trigger that I found is that the feeling is very broad, and you can actually see how it is kind of chamfered on there on the edges a little bit. I debated even so much as taking a Dremel and kind of smoothing down this hard line. So it is I just see there, it's kind of a hard-ish line for your finger. It is very wide, so you do feel it. It really encourages you not to go on the knuckle because your knuckle actually can't fit between. So it really does kind of force you to go onto the pad of your finger, which is good for trigger placement. But that is probably one of the most decisive factors and things I've heard about the MBT is either you're going to love or you're going to hate it, right? Over something mil spec, it is pretty thick. Actually, let me see if I can grab one real quick. I won't brag it over here. Okay. So here is just a old mil spec I just kind of dug out. Yes, do not judge me for the rain anodized. I've learned my ways. But you can't see there. Here, again, standard mil spec. Very flat, very wide. But comparing, you can see the MBT is kind of taking inspiration from that. It's a bit wider, but it doesn't have that beveled edge. So, and it's noticeably thicker. Can also see from some of the sear engagement surfaces there, right? They are nicely machined. Versus like on here, right? You can see it's a little bit more, you can actually see those machining marks versus on here. You're not going to have that as you expect, right? So that is the macro shots of the trigger there. And kind of how it's functioning. So again, I do have the direct one-to-one comparison, but this is kind of again getting those really close ups. Personally, would I get this trigger again? Yes. Would I put it in everything? No. Is it better than mil spec? Yes. Is it exponentially better to warrant it going for every gun? No. I feel like it'd be nice to have one or two, but it definitely doesn't warrant, unless you do want a better than mil spec trigger across the board. You want to kind of hit that happy medium between a Geissele and this. Then yeah, it makes sense. But for all intents and purposes, this will be going in the honey badgered home, and I think it'll fit a nice home in there. But let me know what you guys think down in the comments. Again, I know talking sacrilege here about triggers is gonna get a riled up debate, but I'd love to hear it down below. If you enjoyed the video, found it helpful, please consider liking, commenting, and/or subscribing. Hope everyone's having a wonderful, awesome, fantastic day, and I'll catch you guys next time. See you guys.